Wild and Free Healthy You podcast. This is Lenny Wennerstrom, common sense health expert, unconventional health coach, creator of LennyMotivates.com, author of 7 Simple Steps to a Crazy Awesome Healthy You, and your host of the Wild and Free Healthy You podcast. Your health is your number one asset. That's why on this podcast, we're going to talk about all facets of your health, mind, body, and spirit, which include unconventional strategies, tools, and solutions from a holistic point of view. Because without good health, there isn't much joy in life. If your gut always hurts, you have digestive issues, insomnia, brain fog, joint pain, suffer from thyroid and low energy issues, we're going to talk about it. If your heart hurts, you wonder what your purpose is, or you feel you are spiritually deficient, we're going to talk about that too. We'll talk about recipes and food, getting fit, staying youthful, organization of heart and home, setting boundaries, creating a morning routine that's productive. We're going to talk about it all because health is not just physical. We need balance. From inspiration, motivation, and expansion of mind, body, and spirit, my goal is to help you protect your number one asset, your health. My intention with this podcast is to inform, educate, have fun, and to make getting healthier as easy as possible because health really comes down to common sense. Once you know the scoop and the how-to, you can take action for yourself and your loved ones. Your health is truly your wealth, and I want to help you protect it so you can live the life that you want to live. If you like what you hear for each episode, please take the time to give me a 5-star review, comment, and share with your friends and family. This is how you can contribute to helping others, how the podcast will grow and reach more people, and how together we can inspire others to see the truth of our toxic world and learn how to navigate it with confidence and courage. Your suggestions for the show are always valued and welcome. We're going to have some fun along the way, and we're going to learn a lot. Don't forget to visit me at LennyMotivates.com to see what's new as I grow not only this podcast, but the site as well. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and all social media at Lenny Motivates. Now, be your biggest fan and your biggest cheerleader because it's time to protect your number one asset, your health. Thanks for listening and subscribing to the Wild and Free Healthy You podcast.
I'm very excited about this interview, George. Thank you. Oh, thank you. You know, this hydrogen thing it has become a buzz, right? And it has been for a while, but I think that it's not as big a buzz as it should be because of the healing effects of hydrogen. And I know for myself from my own Aquacure, and the biggest thing that was so amazing to me about it, and by the way, everybody, this is George Wiseman. and let me just read your bio very quickly. This long arch bio with my questions on it. Well, I have lots of questions, but let's just tell you who George Wiseman is because he's freaking arse amazing. And I love him. And he really cares about you. So George Wiseman is a true American inventor with a twist. He invents world-changing technology, but does not patent it. Instead, he sells the information and devices, goes directly to the public, and teaches as many people as he can how to duplicate his innovations, which I love about you, George. I mean, I love that all your videos and everything else that you provide people that they can make their own hydrogen machines. And I mean, it's just, you're amazing. So several people have used his technologies to make millions and not paid Mr. Wiseman a dime. Why? Check your pockets. Maybe they did. But that is okay by Mr. Wiseman because he's trying to get his innovations actually used by the public, which we are doing. He thinks of himself as an alternative energy. Okay, this is the part I was just going to change. He is an alternative energy researcher. And he started his business, Eagle Research, in 1984, at first selling fuel-saving information and technology. He was able to revolutionize that genre, not only inventing several practical fuel savers, but also the technology that allowed fuel savers to interface with modern fuel systems. He then became an expert in Brown's gas. Yay! Brown's gas. And it's not foo-foos, everybody. That's just a name, Brown. Yul Brown, also known as HHO or Yul Brown, Y-U-L, right? Yeah.
Y-U-L-L, 2 L's.
Yul Brown, it sounds like Christmas. It's not foo-foos with Brown's gas, and it's not Yule like Christmas. It's a name, Yul Brown. Okay, or hydroxy, that's the gas, and has focused on that for the last 20 years. Fuel savings was just one of the more than 30 useful applications for hydroxy. Another Mr. Wiseman optimized was using hydroxy to replace torch fuels like acetylene. I know I didn't say that when did I say it right this time? Acetylene?
Acetylene.
Acetylene. Okay. That's kind of like gluten. Anyway, hydrogen for health. Oh, the application is currently focused on is hydroxy for health. Hydroxy for health, the Aquacure machine, everybody. Hydrogen for health is fast becoming one of the most important innovations of all time. And Mr. Wiseman is guiding the technology into using practical and safe technologies to apply it, which I love the safe, because the more that I understand about hydrogen machines and the safety and how much you can get, and basically from your research and things that I just checked into on my own, I'm kind of blown away by how some machines can just get out into the world. And even some of the machines, you're not even getting like real true hydrogen. I mean, I mean, you're not getting enough in order for it to be safe.
Yes.
Yeah, you're getting some, but you're not even getting enough for the health benefits. And that was mind blowing to me, because I thought, oh, hydrogen. I mean, I think you get more hydrogen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. But from like the H2, just the pills, like the pills like from rejuvenation pills from drink HRW, like putting those pills.
There are pills that you can put in water, and when they dissolve, they make hydrogen that then can go out into the water, so that it infuses the water with hydrogen. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yes, thank you, Mr. Scientist. But yes, yeah. But I mean, so you drop the pills in, or Patrick Flanagan, Dr. Patrick Flanagan, who recently passed, his mega hydrate. So, but that you don't pour into the water. You can. It costs less to do it that way. It doesn't taste as good. I mean, it has a distinctive taste. It doesn't bother me, but a lot of people don't like it. But you just take them, and then they dissolve. Those little capsules. So either way, it's really expensive, and I don't know how long those last in the body. That hydrogen. Do you have any idea how long that will last in the body? I mean, you drink
the hydrogen itself, hydrogen is hydrogen, and it's going to last in the body as long as hydrogen does.
Which is?
When you are, when you're infusing the water. Oh, by the way, I have a Band-Aid on my finger here.
Let's see. Did you put some hydrogen on it?
I was actually trimming a horse's feet this last weekend, and I cut my finger with the rasp.
Are you a horse guy?
It's actually almost healed. No, a friend of mine has horses, and I grew up with horses, and my dad was a farrier, so I learned how to do that. And the horse's feet were really long, so I said I had the skills, so I just took my tools down there and trimmed the horse's feet. But
that's so cool. And then you nicked it. How long ago was that?
That was this last Friday. So
see,
I pretty much took the end off my finger. And it's almost healed. There's just a little bit of a scab there left, and otherwise the finger's good. That finger.
Yeah, I know. I was like, George, be careful with it.
It was the long finger, so when I was rasping, I just had it a little bit too far on the horse's hoof, and
wow. And so would you attribute your healing very quickly, because I know how long those things take to heal? You would attribute that to hydrogen healing? That I would,
yes. In fact, if you look at this particular finger, it has a scar on the end of it, which you can't really see anymore. You can see that the finger is deformed. Now, the reason was, when I was young, I was up on a gate and straddled a big log, and I was pounding a nail into a post for the gate cap, and the hammer slipped. It was a 4-pound sledgehammer, and it smashed my finger. And against
every time I talk to you, I get another story of your childhood. And I'm like, oh.
Anyway, that didn't hurt so bad because it was all numb. But when I put it in the water to wash it, that hurt a lot. At that point. But anyway, it had split the end of my finger open, like it just blew the front of the finger out, and so it's been permanently malformed. But I used to have a scar across the top, and that scar is gone. Since I started inhaling the Brown's gas, that scar, along with other ones, like I had about a half an inch square on my forehead scar, and it's gone as well.
Wow.
So these are things that you notice that happen when you're doing the Brown's gas.
Yeah, no, that was the first thing that I really noticed, besides my very first time of using it, when I'm like, that was like amazing. But I mean, that energy was just so amazing. I've not had that experience since, which I wish I would. But that energy.
You look pretty energetic.
Well, I am, but I mean, that was like the best buzz. I mean, I don't think alcohol, or I'm not a big drug user, but I'm not a big drug user. I don't use drugs, but any like stuff. It's just like, I don't know. I've just never had it. It was vital. It was vitality. But your scar, like I know you told on the last interview, you told me about that one. And then my scar was a really deep cat scar that my daughter her cat had attacked me. And I had 3 big, really deep. And one is like, it used to be red. What were you pointing at?
I'm sorry. There were some people were coming in and I just motioned. They can't hear you or they can hear you, but they couldn't hear me because they didn't know I was on it. Anyway.
Oh yeah. So anyway, that scar was that's almost gone. Like the 2 little ones, I couldn't even find it, and then the bigger one is just, it's like brown and not it's not red anymore. It was really red still, you know. I mean, after years and years, so it's going away. And I think do you inhale, like how much do you think that I know we're kind of getting off that topic of well. No, we're not. But anyway, how long do you inhale a day, the Brown's gas, that would make your scars? Like how long would an average person, because I do an hour, 2 hours, and almost every single day. But there was a time when I was, that I didn't do it for like 3 weeks, but when we travel and we take it with us. But that was just other things that were happening. And so I didn't do it. But how long does it take? I know everybody's different. Everybody has a different body. Their body responds differently. But didn't you say you do it like 6 hours a day? Or how long do you do it a day?
I do a minimum of 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Because when I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm able to just put the cannulas on.
Yeah.
Which I have set up here at my computer.
Yeah. Me too. That's why mine's here.
And I'm able to put the cannulas on, and then I can inhale for a minimum of 4 hours a day. I usually start an interview without putting the cannulas on and then I turn on the machine.
And
so
then
that people don't think I'm like on oxygen or something. So
it's a good thing. I should have got mine.
Yeah.
I should just do mine while I'm sitting here because that's the other thing I want to talk about, like the live blood cell analysis and what that does when you're using stuff. So I can't reach mine now. Oh, hold on. Well, go ahead and tell me what you're saying because I can hear you. No, but I can hear you. Just tell me what you were saying.
Yes. And what was it about? Like I just say about the time I do it. Okay, so
the time
I do a minimum of 4 hours a day, and usually when I'm sitting at my computer, there's days that I sit at my computer for 8 hours a day, so I may inhale for 8 hours a day. And there are a lot of people that just simply inhale when they're sleeping, and when you're sleeping, you don't have to inhale as much, which goes back to what we were talking about just a minute ago about how much hydrogen you actually get in your blood. If you drink the hydrogen water, it'll stay in your blood for as long as hydrogen does, which generally speaking is about 10 or 15 minutes. And then the blood plasma, it doesn't take long for it to go away. So hydrogen, that's why hydrogen is more important that you breathe longer than you breathe more. If you breathe more, if you inhale more than what your body needs, like once your blood is saturated, you exhale any excess. So, and most scientific tests are done at about 2% hydrogen in the inhaled breath, which is safe. Anything over 4% is starting to be unsafe. So so safe, and at 2%, and you're inhaling like I am right now, which I'm inhaling at 2%, I'm able to saturate my blood in about 10 or 15 minutes. And then after that, I'll start to exhale almost as much gas as I'm inhaling. So after 15 minutes, you can actually turn the machine down to something, to at least half of what it normally would be. Now for me, it's about 38, my percentage setting on the Aquacure. So I could turn it down to, what would that be, 18.
Oh, really?
And I would still be maintaining my full blood saturation. Now, full blood saturation is important because you want, what happens is first the blood itself is getting the hydrogen in it. And then after that, it starts to soak into the tissues and organs. And then gradually it soaks right into the bones and into the brain and all that kind of stuff. So it's important to start with the hydrogen, not too much, because more at the same time. Like if I doubled my gas inhalation to 4%, and I was doing somewhere just under 80% on the, or 80 on the Aquacure, I wouldn't be actually getting any additional benefit. I would just be exhaling all of the extra gas that I'd be inhaling.
Oh, well, that's what I'm doing all the time. I didn't know I needed to turn it down, so I'm just exhaling hydrogen or hydroxy.
You can be,
yeah.
Yes, the hydroxy. Yep. So the people that are sleeping with it, they just simply have to turn it down to half of what it would normally be. So about a 1% setting. So if it would be, for example, myself 38, then I'd turn it down to 18. When I'm just 30. Anyway, I'd turn it down to 18.
Well, that sounds
that would.
Yeah, so people would listening to this might be confused, and everything comes in it's like based on your weight and your gender, and then it's all in the book. It explains like how much that you need to do for yourself. So it's not anything that you need to like be thinking about right now. Just understand that now I'm understanding, because I learn something new every single time I talk to you, and it's like I don't think I know it all. In fact, I know more every single time I talk to you, but that's new information that I thought that I knew. I thought that you just left it on, whatever that, your mine's 32. And so I thought I just left it, and I just sit there at 32 for hours as well when I'm working on the computer, because I want to make sure that my blood cells are not clumping up because working on the computer. So explain what I'm talking about. That is like because you've done live blood cell analysis, right? And shown. Don't you have a video on do you have one on your new website? Because I know you changed it. It's eagle-research.com, by the way.
.life. Yeah, my regular website is .com, eagle-research.com.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff is on there, but I started a different website just for the health application. So it's eagle-research.life, L-I-F-E.
Oh, so, I found that.
And on there, I put the testimonials and such. That isn't on my regular .com site.
Oh, okay.
And gradually, I'm moving everything Aquacure related over to the .life site, just because there's a lot of my other inventions with fuel savers and free energy and stuff that my site is huge, and
it gets lost.
It gets lost. So back to the blood. Okay.
But wait, do you have a video? But do you have a video on that .life?
I don't.
Okay.
No,
is it just Eagle? Sorry.
There's several videos on .life, and hopefully even this video will end up there. But but I don't have a video that shows how the blood clumps or goes off. I do have some pictures on of my actual blood, and a couple other people that exactly the same thing was happening to, on a report that I put together by Walter Last. Walter Last and I co-authored a report that was published in the Nexus magazine.
I love Walter Last.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
and it was a pleasure to work with him as well. So and also I'd like Duncan Rhodes with Nexus magazine and what have you.
I don't know that name.
They're doing some great work. If you don't know the Nexus magazine, you're really missing out. They're pretty much on the cutting edge of all this stuff that is not part of the regular news media. Anyway,
I'm missing out, but not anymore.
Yeah, you'll get it, and so will everyone else. Anyone who who seeks shall find, kind of thing. It will happen. Okay, so what happens is there's something called ROLU. Okay, ROLU simply means stacking together, like coins stacking together. Okay, and they noticed that in certain conditions, when the blood plasma and the red blood cells have and I'm not up on the exact reasons why. I'm just going to give you the layman's terms of Walter Last really understands this well, and a lot of doctors are trained in that. And I really should research it a little bit better, but this is what happens. When there's a difference in potential between the red blood cells and the blood plasma, the red blood cells tend to stack together. When everything is at the same potential, they're all separate. Okay? So normally when doctors see ROLU, where the red blood cells are all stacked together, that's a bad thing. Because what happens is the red blood cells, when they're all stacked together, supposedly can't carry oxygen very well and all that kind of thing. And they notice this, and you will get higher blood pressure, lower blood oxygen, or rather lower oxygen to your tissues. Let's see, your heart rate increases and your respiration rate increases. So those four things you're going to notice with low energy ROLU. And if you look out there, there's no such thing as low energy ROLU. That's something that we discovered because we discovered high energy ROLU. Okay, so I'll get to that in just a second. And
This
why
is
it's
exciting.
really important. Yes. So what happens with ROLU normally is that the plasma loses its charge essentially, and the red blood cells have a charge, and they clump together like magnets. If you have a bunch of magnets on a table and you kick one magnet, they'll all suddenly just snap all together and make a line.
Right.
And that's pretty much what happens to the red blood cells when the blood plasma isn't keeping them all apart in charges. So
wow.
there's a so if you do hydrogen or drink enough hydrogenated water in something, and you have this ROLU thing, you will notice all the red blood cells come apart and act individually, and your blood oxygen will come up, and your respiration rate will decrease, and your blood pressure will drop, and all these kind of things. Hydrogen does this, so it's really good. However, if you do Brown's gas, all of a sudden you get ROLU again. Okay, this is, and we're saying what?
I know, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We don't want that. Any doctor is going to say, "Oh my God." Okay, but what actually happens is, and we've tested this, your oxygen rate either stays the same or increases, even though your red blood cells are all clumped together. Okay, your oxygen rate goes up, your respiration rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down. All the things that are bad about low energy ROLU don't make any difference with high energy ROLU. Okay, so physically you have no idea that your blood is doing this clumping thing when you're breathing Brown's gas or hydroxy. Okay, so we went back to the science and tried to figure out why this is so, and we discovered it has to do with what's called the electrically expanded water. And Brown's gas has hydrogen, it has oxygen, just like any of the normal gases. But
which, by the way,
it also has
is different than just hydrogen machines. I just want to put that out there, because that's just hydrogen.
So the regular,
yeah.
Right, the ones that are just H2, molecular hydrogen, just have hydrogen, no oxygen, no electrically expanded water. That's the purview of Brown's gas.
Yes.
So with Brown's gas, you not only get the hydrogen, but you also get enough oxygen to prevent hypoxia, and because you're replacing some of the
hypoxia
air that normally
is
low blood oxygen.
Okay.
Okay.
Just want to make sure everybody knows.
When you're breathing straight hydrogen, you're replacing some of the air you're inhaling with hydrogen. And that also replaces some of the oxygen that you're inhaling. So the Brown's gas actually has a mixture of oxygen already in it. So when you're replacing the oxygen-nitrogen mixture that you're inhaling with an oxygen hydrogen mixture. So there's no change as far as the oxygen content. But the Brown's gas also has another gas called electrically expanded water. And what electrically expanded water is, in short, is a plasma form of water. So there's 4 states of matter. You have your solid, which is ice, water, liquid water, your gas, which could be a water vapor or steam, and then plasma, which is its electrically expanded water. Now what it is the water molecules, they're still H2O. It's not hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. It's still H2O, which is actual water, that has soaked up electricity, electrons, literally electrons, until it's became a gaseous form of water that is not water vapor or steam. It's a plasma. And what it is a water molecule with a bunch of extra electrons. And those extra electrons make all the difference. It's what makes the Brown's gas more therapeutically active or efficacious than just straight molecular hydrogen. Molecular hydrogen is a building block. 62% of our body by volume is hydrogen. It's our most important macronutrient.
It's a food.
So, and we need to get it. It's a food. Hydrogen is a food, but it's just a building block. It doesn't do anything by itself. It needs energy. It needs intelligent, directed energy. So the Brown's gas has the energy. Our body has the intelligence as to where to put things, but it can't put things anywhere without energy. If you have a pile of bricks, they're just going to lay there until something comes and grabs them and moves them and puts them where they go. Right. And it takes energy to do that.
Yes.
So to make a brick house, for example. All right. Yeah. So back to the electrically expanded water. It actually gives the body energy, actual electrons, negatively charged particles. So these negatively charged particles, when you inhale the Brown's gas, these negatively charged particles land on the red blood cells, and they become charged. So now they have a higher charge than your blood plasma. And and now we have a discrepancy in charge again, the red blood cells clump together like magnets. So this is the high energy ROLU. So instead of everything being low energy and clumping together, you now have the high energy and clumping together. And the high energy does not have all the negative side effects. In fact, it has positive benefits. If anything, the blood pressure even goes lower than you had before, and your oxygen content goes higher. This has already been measured several times. So people that were at 97% oxygen in their blood, for example, you just get a pulse oximeter to measure that, can go to 98 or 99%, and which is good, getting a higher oxygen content. And so it shows that the red blood cell grabs the oxygen in the lungs, but also the brown gas at the same time. So it has the oxygen in it, and it also has this electrical charge. And then the blood goes and distributes both the oxygen and the electrical charge all throughout your body. And then, of course, your body uses it appropriately. So when you're inhaling or you're drinking the water that's infused with the Brown's gas, by the way, I caught myself with the rasp right there too.
You're finding all these cuts that are healing.
So I did know about that one. It showed up on the video, so I thought I'd point it out. Okay. So when you inhale or drink, your body decides where it's going to go to heal. So some people may not notice much. Like myself, I noticed the energy. You noticed the energy. My current wife, when she first breathed the gas at 6:30 in the night, she actually had one of the best night's sleep she could ever remember. It just, the body decides what it needs to heal, and every body is different.
Right.
And so there's no way of really predicting. It's just that when virtually all of us are hydrogen deficient due to our intestinal microbiome not taking the hydrogen out of our food properly, because of it's been killed off with antibiotics and things like that. So that's a whole nother conversation. Getting back to
that's interesting, because I wanted to understand that, why we're not getting hydrogen from our food. But keep going on that, and let's come back to that.
So make a note on that, so we remember to come back to it. Yes, because it is important.
Yeah.
All right. Because we can't breathe in hydrogen like we do with oxygen, so we have to get it from somewhere, and we get it from our food. All right, getting back to the hydrogen in the blood. So the Brown's gas, the electrically expanded water. So another thing that happens with this electrically expanded water is it becomes the electrons become the thing that stops what's called oxidative cascade. And what that means is you have bad free radicals running around in the blood, and they burn. It's actually called oxidation. So when it oxidizes, it means it grabs an electron. So this free radical is minus electrons, and so or electron deficient, and so it grabs electrons from the cells, and that essentially burns them. It oxidizes them, and that causes damage, oxidative damage. Yeah. So when you put in the electrically expanded water with this excess of electrons, those electrons neutralize those free radicals, and they become just neutral. They can be expelled from the body with no further damage. It also stops something called oxidative cascade, because as a free radical grabs an electron from something, that something is now electron deficient, and it grabs an electron from something else, and then that one grabs it from something else, and there's just a cascade of damage. So by putting in the electrons that are needed, it stops it. Now, electrons are literally energy, bioavailable energy, and people that are sick or deficient usually have two things happening. First of all, their energy generation systems have become compromised, so it's not making as much energy as the body usually needs. And then the second, this is down in the in the cell structure itself.
Mitochondria?
And mitochondria, yes, that's the word I was trying to pull out of my brain. So the mitochondria aren't making the ATP, and thank you, appreciate that. And efficiently or whatever. And so then the body's, especially if they're sick or something is attacking the body uses the energy to power the immune systems or whatever it needs to try to ward off the infection or pathogen, whatever the case may be, or get rid of the illness, or even just to heal. So the body is using energy all the time, and it becomes energy deficient. So the Brown's gas not only provides the hydrogen, it provides the energy to stop all this cascade and the energy the body needs to heal. So this is why the hydrogen is more therapeutically beneficial sorry, the Brown's gas is more therapeutically beneficial than just the pure hydrogen. You need the hydrogen. You need the hydrogen, and if you're only doing the hydrogen, that's good. You're at least doing half of what you need, and hopefully you'll get the energy you need from someplace else. But the Brown's gas provides both, and therefore is more therapeutically beneficial.
That's a really good explanation. I do have a question though. So if the red blood cells are clumping together like magnets, one of the things that you explained earlier, explained to me, is that the capillaries are so teeny for the blood flow to get through, and what the red blood cells, what it helps to do, that expended water, is helps it to turn into like a hot dog shape, so it just goes whoop, like right through, so like no heart attacks.
Right.
I mean, you're
so
getting
round
that blood
circle
flow,
turns
and you're getting
into this, and
yeah. So if it's
the capillaries
clumping,
are smaller than the size of the red blood cell. That's exactly right. You'll see lots of videos online.
but so if they're clumping, that's my question. If they're clumping together, even if it's high energy, then how does it get through the capillaries?
That's an excellent question. Capillaries.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, essentially, what happens? Yeah. No, you did great. In fact, they say it both ways, so that's not a problem. So what happens is the red blood cells still deform and form into essentially like a hot dog, but it's like a chain of hot dogs. Okay?
Oh,
So that's how physically it looks.
Yeah.
But it's really important to know an additional thing. A fellow by the name of professor by the name of Gerald Pollack in the University of Washington discovered this. It was called the fourth phase of water, which actually wasn't true. The electrically expanded water is the fourth phase of water because it's the plasma form. But in his book, he called it fourth phase. He discovered this thing called easy zone water, which actually it isn't even water because it's H3O, H2O, so it's H3O2. Yes, it has an extra hydrogen and an extra oxygen.
But it's not plasma, and it's not water, and it's not a gas.
No, it's a gel. It's a gel.
Oh, it's a gel.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a gel, and this gel is one of the most important discoveries probably ever. It definitely goes above electrically expanded water because our whole bodies couldn't work without this gel. And it's this gel that coats the inner lining of all the capillaries and veins and arteries in our body. It also is a gel that's inside every cell in our body, this easy zone stuff. And so it's what gives us the plumpness and the cells, the plumpness and everything. It's just water. It isn't just H2O. It's H3O2, and
so it stops the wrinkles.
This gel is really slippery, and if we didn't have this gel, the red blood cells would just stick to the so that's what makes it really slippery. So then the blood pressure or vacuum. There's various things. There is even some people that say the heart isn't actually creating the pressure to pump the blood. There's actually other things that cause it more like a vacuum, and the heart
Dr.
just moves
Cowan?
things around.
Yeah.
But anyway, however the blood gets circulated, it wouldn't circulate if it didn't have the slipperiness of the easy zone. And so that it's just fantastic, the things that we're learning. But getting back to the clumping, then.
Dogs.
So now you have the ROLU. Now, if you have low energy ROLU, it doesn't go away. Okay, it stays until you do something to add energy to the body. The high energy ROLU, though, has a completely different thing. As it circulates in the blood, and you stop inhaling, for example. Now I've taken blood before I was inhaling, and then looked at the blood while I'm inhaling, and then looked at the blood for several times after I was inhaling. And what happens is the blood, after you're inhaling, in about 10 or 15 minutes, remember I said it takes about 10 or 15 minutes to saturate the blood?
Yes.
Okay, and that's when the ROLU forms, and then high energy ROLU. And then when you are stop inhaling, it takes about 10 or 15 minutes for all that ROLU to go away. Okay, so what it does is dissipated that energy in your body, and it's gone, and now your red blood cells are just separate like normal, and all the additional enhancement that you were getting is gone. But of course, it's retained in whatever health aspect that the body was able to do, because the hydrogen can actually penetrate right down not only into the DNA, right into the very structure of everything in your body. The hydrogen's the smallest molecule there is, and so there's no problem getting it everywhere. and the body has actually does a really good job of holding on to the hydrogen, like everything on the planet. If hydrogen is not free, hydrogen is attached to everything, and as soon as the hydrogen is detached, like if it's in the open air, woof, straight up to God. It just disappears.
Really?
And it's gone.
Is that why the balloons just float? Or, I mean, how does that, like hydrogen
if I'm
balloons?
exhaling the hydrogen, then the hydrogen I exhale just goes straight to the top of the room, finds a vent, goes up into the atmosphere, and heads for God.
Oh, that's interesting.
It just,
Yeah.
So the high energy ROLU is different than the low energy. Well, I like to think of it as the God atom or God molecule, because they've actually shown in space where it spontaneously appears and disappears, hydrogen in empty space.
Really?
It's the first thing that physically manifests out of what we can call the ether or the nothingness to make our physical universe. And then it seems like pretty much everything is made from hydrogen. As hydrogen clumps together and goes to lower and lower energy states, it forms heavier and heavier materials. So most of our universe is made of hydrogen.
Yeah, that's amazing to me. That we didn't know before. I mean, that we know about hydrogen, and let's kind of seg into like why we don't get hydrogen from our food then now anymore. Like, explain that.
Okay,
because if the universe is if we're all made of hydrogen, then why are we not getting it from our food? Why do we need the supplementation of hydrogen?
Good. So it starts with how we get our hydrogen normally. If we were back where we developed and were created and what have you, it's called a microbiome. We actually have more of not us on and in our bodies than we have of us, of our actual cells. There's more different things.
Bacteria.
So we call it the microbiome.
Yeah.
And the microbiome can be on the skin. Yeah, it's like 10 to 1. It's like, and we start our digestion of our food. So we go back one more step. It's hydrocarbons. We're eating hydrocarbons. Hydro is for hydrogen, carbon is carbon. Our bodies are made of 62% hydrogen, 24% carbon, 12% oxygen, and 2% everything else. So when we're talking nutrition, our most important nutrient is the hydrogen. The food that we eat is hydrocarbons. It's carbons surrounded by hydrogens. And there's different kind of combinations for different kinds of hydrocarbons or carbohydrates. But that's where we get our hydrogen from. Now we start with the digestive system in our mouth when we're masticating the food and putting in some enzymes, and then we send it down to our tummy, and the stomach acids get rid of a lot of the bad microbiome. It's one of our immune defense mechanisms is the acid in the stomach, but it also prepares the food for getting into the lower intestines where the gallbladder squirts in some stuff and gall and what have you, and we further digest in the lower and we're getting some nutrition at that point from the small intestines, but the actual hydrogen is produced in the large intestine, in the colon. And just before we're excreting this food, so the colon makes the microbiome in the colon makes the hydrogen. It's the bacteria that are specially designed to break the hydrogens off from the carbons. It takes a certain kinds of enzymes and all preparation and what have you, because they're really securely attached. It takes a lot of energy to pull them apart. So we use some things like catalysts and enzymes to help lower that. And our digestive system does that. But if we've lost those bacteria, those particular bacteria that break the hydrogen off from the food, then we don't get the hydrogen from the food. It goes out into the toilet and we're deficient, hydrogen deficient.
And many people have really poor gut health, so they don't have the right bacteria.
So one of the modern miracles was antibiotics, and people were swallowing antibiotics, but antibiotics kill all the bacteria. They kill the good and the bad.
Right.
And yes, they are necessary. The antibiotics are necessary to save lives, but they've been overused, and also the gut microbiome hasn't been reestablished back, because those particular bacteria are very sensitive to antibiotics and chemicals like artificial sweeteners and I think it's called glyphosate.
Glyphosate. Yeah, glyphosate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
glyphosate.
Monsanto's glyphosate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we those kind of chemicals, all these artificial
which
chemicals,
is an antibiotic.
kill all
Yeah.
these microbiome, so we become hydrogen deficient. Now, the body is
Wow.
very good at maintaining life. We
Mhm.
have amazing bodies that
No.
they just astonish me every day. I can't even imagine how we could be alive. There's so many things going on and all in concert and stuff. So one thing that people know is that if you go out into the cold and you start to get hypothermia, the body knows to shut off heat to the extremities to
Right.
preserve, blood circulation, to
Right.
preserve core temperature. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, the body is very good at shutting off things that aren't needed for the immediate to preserve life. So
Right.
one of the first things it shuts off is what's called the regeneration system, because
Mhm.
the regeneration system isn't important if you're going to die in the next few minutes anyway. So it shuts off the regeneration system if you don't have enough hydrogen. And then if you still don't have enough hydrogen, it starts to shut off the immune system.
Wait.
So first of all,
So
when you
wait. Let me
yeah,
ask. So if you have hypothermia and you have enough hydrogen in your body, you're not going to die from hypothermia?
no, it's a different thing. I was just showing that
Oh, okay. You're just
it's
saying the shutdown
the
of the body.
hypothermia
Yeah, where it goes. Yeah. Okay.
is heat.
I was
Yeah,
like,
I'm
yeah,
just
no.
using that as an example of
Okay. Okay.
how the body does that. It's like if you're scared, if you're
Yes.
absolutely frightened out of your mind, and
Yeah.
there's a dinosaur behind you,
Yeah.
and you have to, or a
We saw
saber-toothed
that.
tiger, yes, and you need to get away from that danger, the
Yeah.
body shuts off
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
except your eyes, your legs,
Yeah.
it just puts energy directly to the things
What it needs to do.
that stress. Okay,
Right.
to get away, to run, or fight, or whatever it is that you're going to necessarily
Right.
do, and so that's called fight or flight. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, these days people are scared on a constant basis. If the
Yeah.
stress that they're having is causing that to happen, and one of the things that happens is their immune system shuts off.
Right.
So actually,
Yes.
the fear is causing more people to be sick
I know.
because this constant fear is keeping the immune system shut down.
Mhm. Exactly.
So one thing that people need to do is get out in the sunshine, do things that are fun and happy, because
Mhm.
happy people don't get sick as much.
It's
The
true. It's true.
smiles are
It's,
healthful. Okay,
yeah. Wait,
so
let me ask
so
you, do you
Digestion, go
remember?
ahead.
Okay. Because I know you get deep into this stuff and I love it. It's nice to get into the weeds, but I want to just like, do you know the exact bacteria that gets that in the lower
I,
intestine?
I,
That,
I don't. I
okay.
don't. I've been looking and researching and or paying attention to which are the names of the best bacteria to make the hydrogen,
Yeah.
and there are people out there doing some of that research now,
Yeah.
and
I
testing
think,
different kinds of bacteria.
yeah. Wayne, what from livingstreamsmission.com. I mean, he had that figured out, and sadly, he also passed away. So, but yeah, I was just trying to. I didn't know if you actually knew which one was in there yet. So, but
No, but I do know that there are some that are more efficient at it than others. There's,
yeah.
as you know, there's millions of kinds of
Oh,
bacteria, and
oh
they all
yeah,
have their own little specialties. Some are
yeah.
carpenters, and some are
Yeah, I know.
electricians, and
You know, they're amazing. Our bodies are so amazing. So I mean, we are 10 to 1 of the bacteria that what creates the microbiome, and so it's like to human cells, and
yes,
so it's like here we are. We're all everything is a microbiome. We have all of our microbiomes and ecosystems, and we're just amazing. And I think when we actually realize how amazing our bodies are, that we start to respect. You know that I used growing up, it was like your body is your temple, treated as your temple, and all of that. And I didn't ever get that. It's like, oh, I'm young, I'm da da da. You just do your things. But when you actually realize what's going on in the ecosystem, that ecosystems that are there, and how they promote your health and your vitality and your life, and it's like you want. Not only do you respect that, but you want to like promote all that. You want to keep it clean and healthy and vital so that it works for you. It's just like this huge giving, receiving. It's amazing. It's a gift. It's a gift.
yes, yes.
It
It
makes me
is a
very
gift.
excited. It is a gift. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. We didn't pay for it; it was given to us,
Yeah.
and the older I get, the more and more I appreciate it. I think
Yeah.
now I appreciate it, but I know that in a year or two hence, I'll appreciate it even more.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's like loving my wife. I loved her to begin with, but I love her even more now that I know her even better. So
Aw,
she's
yeah. That's
so
beautiful.
anyway, it's one of those things. When I was young, I did the same thing. I didn't pay attention to what I was eating or doing, or I got lots of scars, and and what have you. And now that I'm older, okay, so I'm still wounding myself, but I'm not scarring anymore.
We're de-scarring. That's the thing. I mean, going from the inside out, and not to like, we are going really deep in that, but let's go to what, like, people, what really matters to people is like what they're looking for in hydrogen machines. They're looking for, you know, I went in to look at like, what are the questions, and people are looking at like, what are the benefits of hydrogen water? And we know, we talked about that, but I mean, I did a little like page, but I mean, not even just the high blood pressure. Oh, here, I'm looking. I got all my little notes. And I even got like machines. I typed off, you know, got a bunch of the hydrogen machines and everything that are on Amazon. And what I want to say in this interview and make it very, very clear is that a hydrogen machine is not Aquacure. It is not Brown's gas. And we talked about that in the beginning, and that is a huge distinction. I don't care what anybody says, and what for my audience, what I really want you to know is that people who are promoting hydrogen machines, just like I promote the Aquacure, I mean, I do research. I check in with George, who, one, he's the inventor, the creator, and he's done all of his research to do this. He's been doing this for 1 million years. And like that dinosaur you saw on his screen before, he was there. No, but most of these people are just promoting to make money off of them, and they're not, like, they don't really understand and I say that because I've not only gotten emails from these people, but I've listened to their webinars, and it's like, you guys, I mean, you're not digging into the science behind it, and you're really misleading your audiences. And that really bothers me. And that was one of the reasons I really wanted to do an interview with you, is because there's a huge distinction and difference and physiological, healthful gains type of reason why you would choose. And it's what you were talking about, the expanded water, the fourth phase, just the hydrogen with the oxygen, with the, all of that. It's, and it gives you the energy behind. You don't just get the hydrogen, which sits there. You need the energy to push it and make it happen, make the health happen. And I really want people to understand that. And I hope I said that correctly, that last part, but here are some of the benefits. And you just, like, if you just stop me, but I wrote some of these down, but one is quickly absorbed by the body. So we talked about the saturation, 10 to 15 minutes, and then you could turn it down, which I already could, but I was like this because I can't reach with my these. So I'll just leave it and breathe it out into the God world and give everybody a treat. And then it's great for chronic inflammation, which, I mean, that's the healing properties. Obviously, like heart attacks, like the blood oxygenation and getting in there and getting, like we talked about, that, what did you call it? Not high energy, but high, whatever that the blood's clumping.
It's high energy, Rolou.
Rolou.
Yes,
So is that spelled like French, Rolou? Is that like red?
Yes.
Does that mean red? Okay, I
no,
just want to make sure.
ROULETTE. LEAUX, I think. Something like that.
Rolou. Yeah, so it does mean red, right? Or
yes.
rouge or something. Okay. Well, I guess rouge maybe. Is rouge, but anyway, I think it's red. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's a French word. Rolou. But in case you're looking for, if somebody's like me and has to know afterwards, that's how you can find it. But start searching for it that way. And then it improves digestion because it moves free radicals out of the blood, and it helps to get the oxygen in there. And does it feed the bacteria? It helps to feed the bacteria, does it not? Do they, like, in the microbiome?
I don't think so.
No, the food does that. Actual, I mean,
yes.
It's a food, but I mean
food.
The actual, so, but it is an actual food, but it's
there are
it's
some hydrogen. There are some bacteria that eat hydrogen, that ingest hydrogen, but generally.
But that would be a different. Yeah, that's a different story.
That's a different thing entirely. Yeah, it has to do in the GI tract. Yeah.
Okay. Improves sleep. Improves blood pressure by lowering blood pressure if you have high blood pressure.
It actually returns the body to homeostasis. Pretty much,
that's good.
However, whatever's wrong, if you have high, it brings it down. If you have low, it brings it up for all the various things. So the body is healing itself, and it knows how to heal itself. That's one of the amazing things about our bodies, is they know how to heal themselves. So given enough time, you get rid of the big C word, and you get
Yeah,
all
yeah.
these other kinds of illnesses and all of that.
Yes.
It brings the body to homeostasis.
So I'm glad you said that, because that's like adaptogens. So I'm an herbalist, and adaptogens are that they do exactly that. If you have something wrong, whichever way it is, on the low or the high or the negative or the positive, whatever it is, it homeostasis. So thank you for clarifying that. So aging restores youth because one, it gives you energy. It gets right to the mitochondria, which are your power cells of the body, your fuel cells, and make you just like, woo, that kind of stuff all the time. It really does. It makes you feel really good. It brings back your energy. And because you need it. Like it's like the primary, what'd you say? So we're 62% hydrogen. So if you are lacking in hydrogen, then how can you be woo? Because you'd be like,
exactly.
I need some sleep, but it's not good sleep. You never get good sleep. You wake up, it's tired. You go to sleep and you wake up tired. This makes you wake up just like, bang, I got stuff to do, baby. But that's how it works. And then also weight loss. So weight loss, how does it help with weight loss? Because I know that I read about how hydrogen helps with weight loss, but is that just the energy, helps with the energy, and therefore helps with digestion, which helps with blood flow, which, I mean, it just gets the body working correctly?
All of that, it increases the metabolic rate and what have you, but it comes down to, again, homeostasis. And you actually have to, that is a cautionary thing. You have to not eat as much. Now, you don't need as much food when you're inhaling the hydrogen. Like I only eat once a day, and I have to be very careful on how many calories I eat, because my body is very good at storing those calories, those excess calories. And so I can only eat once a day when I'm inhaling the hydrogen. I'm getting enough food and nutrients, because the main nutrient that you need is the hydrogen. Yeah. And the nice thing about the hydrogen is, ooh, what was that? It was calorie free. I had a buzz. I'm not sure why. And okay.
It must have been the hydrogen. I got one too.
It was just a sudden static in my ears. I'm not sure if it was the internet connection or whatever. But anyway, the hydrogen is necessary. Food. So I don't need to eat as much food, and so that's where we get the issue from. Of weight gain or weight loss. I can actually put on weight fairly quickly if I eat too much food, but I don't need the food, and it's only a hunger thing.
So let's also talk about after intense exercise.
When you're exercising, you're getting a lot of lactic acid, and it causes sore muscles. Yes. When you're inhaling the gas, you have none of that. No sore muscles. I remember one time I was a couple of years ago, when I was working on this house, we had to work on the foundation, and we had to take a jackhammer to jackhammer out the old concrete. And the 20, 30-year-old kids, they were scared of that jackhammer. And I used to jackhammer when I was young in the mines. So I just grabbed the jackhammer and I jackhammered all day, even though I was in my late 50s at the time. And I expected I was going to have to pay for that heavily with sore muscles and stuff. Nope, nada. I worked all day. Well, actually, it was only about 4 or 5 hours with the jackhammer, but I worked with the jackhammer and I had no sore muscles the next day at all, period. So, okay, I'm not getting a good connection now. So you're asked the question again, something about hydrogen water?
We're going to take a quick break right here, and just want to thank you for listening to the show. Hope you're enjoying learning about hydroxy gas or Brown's gas and its wonderful healthful benefits. The distinction is huge between simply hydrogen and hydroxy or Brown's gas. Huge benefits. And here's another benefit to you just by being a listener on the show. You can get 10% off when you use the code LinnyMotivates to purchase your Aquacure today. So you go to eagle-research.life and use the code LinnyMotivates. That's all one word. And you spell my name Lynnie and motivates. Linny Motivates, all one word. Now let's get back to the show, get back to George, and learn more about how Brown's gas or hydroxy can totally transform your health for the better, and best yet, beat out viruses. Yes, in today's environment, we are very concerned about viruses. So lots of good stuff coming your way. And remember to go to eagle-research.life aquacure.life and get your Aquacure today.
I hope it's
And
better,
well,
George. Can
oh,
you hear?
perfect.
I don't know what happened. I mean, I'm glad it's perfect. Yay! Here we go. Okay. So we were talking about, right when I asked you that, we were talking about a hydrogen water bottle. Can you explain what that is? Like that gets typed in all the time in the search engine. So what
Right.
is up with the hydrogen
Okay.
water bottle?
I actually have several of them over here that I experimented with, but anyway, a hydrogen water bottle is usually a bottle, just a regular sports bottle. It looks kind of like a sports bottle with a thick end on it, and in fact, they even have these thick ends that you can screw regular pop bottles into or water bottles into. So it has the same sort of thread, but in that little end, in the heavy end, is a electrolyzer of one kind or another. Now, usually these days they are the hydrogen type, the H2. So it has what's called SPE or PEM technology, permanent electrolytic membrane.
Yeah, I've heard that. I didn't know what it was, but
Okay,
yeah.
so the what it is two electrodes with a membrane in the middle that is the catalyst. It's the thing that helps split the water using low voltage. So the hydrogen comes off one side and the oxygen goes off the other. In most of these bottles, the oxygen is just vented out the bottom. And also, if there happens to be any chlorine or something in the water, then usually the chlorine goes off on the oxygen side as well. So you're not poisoning the water with chlorine any more than it already is. But generally, with any of these bottles, you would want to use pure water anyway. You want to use the distilled or extremely good reverse osmosis water. You want as pure water as possible because any of the impurities that are in the water can react to this electrolysis process and create things like carbon monoxide and stuff that you don't want.
Wow.
So the or chlorine gas and what have you. So what happens is the hydrogen then comes off the cathode and it infuses the bubbles of the hydrogen go right into the water itself. And so the bottle becomes infused with water. Now, some of them have
You mean with hydrogen?
Excuse me, with hydrogen.
Right?
You're correct.
Okay. I just want to, okay.
I could mind getting ahead of myself.
No, go.
So
Yeah, it's fine.
so some of them have a cap on the top. Most of them have a cap on the top so that the hydrogen builds up pressure inside. And the higher pressure there is, the more hydrogen can be squeezed into the water. So when you release the pressure, you want to inhale the hydrogen as quickly as possible. If you're inhaling it from the pressure, because it's going to start releasing that hydrogen from the water. So the sooner you drink the water, the more hydrogen you'll get from the hydrogen-infused water. So that's the hydrogen bottles themselves. Again, the oxygen portion goes off into nothingness, and you can never get Brown's gas with one of those bottles because the Brown's gas is actually formed in between the cathode and the anode. So in a Brown's gas machine, you have the negative, the cathode, and the positive, the anode.
Okay.
So hydrogen's formed here and oxygen is formed here. And in between, the catalyst is a liquid. It's not just pure water. It has a catalyst in it, in the solution. And we use lye to do that. We've tested thousands of electrolytes and combinations and stuff and found that to be the most efficacious and practical. And we can explain why. But anyway, but what happens is a bridge is formed in the middle. There was actually a Chinese guy that proved this out. And it's like it makes the water into something similar to a semiconductor. And as the electrons go from the negative to the positive over this bridge, it's an electron bridge, some of the electrons start getting stuffed into the water. So the electrically expanded water forms right out of the gas forms right out of the middle in between the anode and the cathode. So we're making hydrogen, oxygen, and electrically expanded water. And so this third gas is formed in a Brown's gas machine, but it can only happen when you have this semiconductor bridge going across associated with the water.
So they only have a cathode, they don't have an anode. So there's no way they could ever create.
Have an anode and they have an anode and a cathode. You need both in order to split the water into hydrogen and oxygen. And so they have the cathode and they have the anode, but in between is a permanent membrane. It's made by DuPont, most of them, and it's called a solid polymer electrolyte, SPE, and and that's a permanent membrane. no water. There's no water. It's a permanent catalyst, a solid catalyst in between the anode and the cathode, which allows electrons to go between them, allowing the water splitting to happen, but it doesn't allow water to go in the middle. And that's what you need with the Brown's gas, is you need to be able to have the water, this whole thing going back and forth, the electrons and the water, because that's how the electrons are stuffed into the water. Now, even the old Faraday, like 250 years ago, they discovered they could use electricity to split water. Michael Faraday, actually even before that, but Michael Faraday did the science to prove what's going on. Anyway, what they did at that point was they put a membrane in between, in the middle, okay? So you have your anode and your cathode and a membrane. And this membrane is impervious to gas, but allows electrons through. So the hydrogen that is produced over here and the oxygen that is produced over here are separated by this membrane. And the hydrogen goes out this hose and the oxygen goes out that hose. So but a Brown's gas machine doesn't have a membrane. It allows the gases to mix. So the hydrogen mixes with the oxygen, and all the hydrogen and oxygen goes out the same hose. But then there's also this third gas, which is the electrically expanded water, goes out that same hose as well.
So you get it all. That's why you get. Oh, okay. Because otherwise, one goes out this way, one goes out this, but the two mix together, and then that's why you get that electrically expanded water. That expanded water.
Now, there are electrolyzers out there that then combine the hydrogen and oxygen after they're out. So the hydrogen goes out this hose, the oxygen goes out that hose, and then there's a T somewhere outside the machine that combines the hydrogen and oxygen again. But that's not Brown's gas. Even though it's 67% hydrogen, 33% oxygen, it's still not Brown's gas, which is 67-33%. Because it doesn't, the molecules, even though Brown's gas is all hydrogen and oxygen, the molecules are arranged in a different way. Part of the gas, about 30% of it, is this electrically expanded water. So that it's still water, but it's in a gaseous form with extra electrons on it. And you don't get that if you take the two gases out separately and then combine them outside the machine.
Well, I'm going to pretend like I know all that, but I don't know that my audience would get it. Maybe I know that they're very intelligent people, and but very honestly, we don't.
Listening to you, they are definitely intelligent people.
But here's the really cool thing is, I mean, I do get it a little bit. You know, I don't know about the chemistry of it, but I do understand the basics of it, and now I do understand why a hydrogen machine it can never ever make Brown's gas. And I didn't understand that before. And now I'm understanding why these, and I knew about the water bottles, but I didn't know how they worked. And I thought they were just for the water. I didn't know you could actually breathe in the gas. So I think
there is water bottles out there that actually have cannulas as well. But again, it makes so little gas. Like it's a teeny amount of gas. It's more for show or a toy. As far as therapeutic breathing is concerned.
Okay, so I didn't want that teeny amount of gas is very important that we address. But before that we talk about that teeny amount of gas, I wanted to talk about no, let's just talk about that teeny amount of gas because I lost my train of thought. So yes, a lot of these machines. Oh wait, no. Here's my point. I wanted to ask about that. You talked about like if somebody's just putting tap water in, or they're putting it has whatever the water they're putting in that whatever machine, the hydrogen machine, and even drinking with hydrogen, the hydrogen will actually bond to say chlorine, or people are always peeing and all their drugs, everybody, all this stuff, the pharmaceuticals, glyphosate, all that stuff is in the water. And so I mean that's why I do distilled as well. And but so can hydrogen attach to that and make it something else? It's a chemical reaction. You kind of touched on that. But so I wanted you to explain that.
It could, and in some cases definitely would, depending on what the impurities are. So just to get the pure gas, you definitely want to use the pure water, so you don't get all the hormones and pathogens and minerals and all the other kinds of things, the drugs and everything that could possibly be in just normal tap water. Which when you test tap water, there's also another characteristic that's called ORP, which is oxygen reduction potential. And if you test your tap water, I test my tap water, it's positive 400 ORP, which means that if I drink that, it'll actually suck energy out of my body. Wow. Believe it or not.
Wow.
Because ORP is measured in millivolts, and the millivolts are caused by electrons. So if I drink this electron deficient water, ORP, positive ORP, it'll actually take electrons from my body to neutralize the water that I just drank.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you bubble let's say it's even distilled water, and distilled water might have ORP of maybe positive 200 or something like that. And when you bubble the Brown's gas in it, it goes to a negative ORP. Negative is good in this case. And so you can have a negative 200 or 300 ORP. So when you drink it, then the electrons are actually going, it's actually giving electrons to your body rather than it taking it from it. Now, this is what I call honest ORP or pH. Like if you, that's another measurement that they do of water is pH. And they've always been thinking that high pH water was good, but that was a misunderstanding of what was actually going on. Because back in the day, 40 years ago, when they developed the flow-through electrolyzers, so you could take tap water and flow it through an electrolyzer, which had a negative and positive electrode again, your cathode and your anode. They put a potential difference, and the minerals that were higher pH would go to the cathode, and the minerals that were the stuff that was lower pH, which was most of the contamination actually, would go to the positive electrode or the anode, and those two streams of water would go out different or hoses, and so you'd have the high pH and the low pH water, and they discovered that the high pH water was very helpful, and it is, but not for the reason they thought. They thought it was because of the high pH. Turns out it's because of the hydrogen. When you're doing this thing here, it's actually as well as bringing the high pH minerals over, it was putting some hydrogen in that water and oxygen in that water. So they found the oxygenated water was good for like killing germs and things like that, and and the high pH water was good for health. And so they promoted the high pH because they didn't think to measure the hydrogen. Well, it turns out about 5 years ago, somebody did think to measure for the hydrogen because hydrogen was becoming a thing. So they thought, we'll just measure this hydrogen in this high pH water and see. And they discovered that if they left the pH high, but took away the hydrogen, the health benefits disappeared, gone. No benefit whatsoever from pH.
Because that was from the minerals only that raised the pH.
Yeah, then the minerals were
like electrolytes. Exactly. Yeah.
Good point. Yes, and that's exactly right. So when they took the minerals and stuff out, and left in the hydrogen, so they lowered the pH to neutral and left in the hydrogen, the health benefits were still there, totally maintained. So it was totally the hydrogen that was doing the health benefits. Brings us back to the honesty. So then people were, if you have distilled water and you get a higher ORP or a higher pH just by adding the Brown's gas, that's honest because you're raising the pH by adding the electrons and ORP by adding, or you're lowering the ORP by adding electrons. So that's what I call honest. Instead of just putting an impurity in there. Like I could raise a pH of water by putting in lye,
or
that would not be helpful to drink. Or baking soda. Baking soda, it also raises the pH and is somewhat helpful. In fact, a teeny amount of lye is healthful as well.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you put baking soda in, a teeny amount of that baking soda turns into lye.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
well, let's don't go into chemistry because that'll get, But that's interesting. Okay. But can I just say something about lye? It doesn't have aluminum in it because that has also been being touted that like the Aquacure, that the lye has aluminum. So I just want to dispel that myth or that lie.
There's
that lie about lye.
Aluminum.
Yeah.
Lye is just lye. Sodium hydroxide. Yeah. It's NaOH. Yes. It's just sodium.
But that's out there.
Aluminum.
Yeah, but that's out there. So I just
well, people are saying that, but that because they're saying it doesn't make it true.
That's what I'm saying. I wanted to spell that. Yeah. So go ahead and finish what you were saying before I interrupted because I had to like get that out of the
healthful. Okay, minerals. Yeah, it's just that you want to be able to raise the pH using actual healthful things instead of not healthful things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, calcium, magnesium, those things are going to raise the pH. And that could be helpful.
And they can be helpful if they're in the right format. Generally speaking, I drink, and I have since 2005, 97% of my fluid intake. I have maybe a couple glasses of wine and maybe a soda pop or something, a few very few times a year. I've drank distilled water since 2005. 97% of my fluid intake. And the fluid, and it has been all Brown's gas bubbled. distilled water. So it isn't the dead water. It actually turns it live, and it makes the water
Structured.
probably one of the most healthful fluids on earth is the Brown's gas bubbled water. So that's what I've been drinking, is distilled water since 2005. So people say, well, where do you get your minerals from? I say, I get my minerals from my food. Because when plants take the minerals, see, plants can eat solid minerals, okay, from the dirt, if you will. And when they bring it up into their plant structure, they modify it in a way that now we can eat it and we can get the nutrition from it. We don't get nutrition from eating rocks and iron and base minerals. We get nutrition from eating the plants and animals that have pre-processed stuff. Yeah.
And we won't go into a really long discussion on, I mean, there are a lot of plants that are not getting the minerals because over planting and not turning the soil and all of that too. So you're really not getting it from.
Doesn't have the minerals in it.
Yeah, then it can't. It can't feed you that. But that's just important to mention, so people don't say, oh, I could just go eat, whatever and get my minerals, because sometimes you do have to supplement.
And so sometimes you need supplementation.
Yeah,
and
which
you
is
have to
sad.
be careful to eat organic and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when you take your supplements, be sure to take supplements that are actually bioavailable.
Yeah,
For example, B12, cyanocobalamin, isn't bioavailable. Your body actually has to turn it into methylcobalamin before it can actually use it. So,
so it takes
for example, people with diabetes.
Yeah. I just wanted to get that out there. So thank you for that. Also then, like some of the, I want to like an ionizer. They'll put them up there, like the Aqua Ionizer Pro, and there's different. I don't want to just like, I'm just looking at, there's the Lourdes, the Baywell, the Air Water Life, then there's the Aqua Ionizer. There's a lot of life ionizers. There's all kinds of different, getting all kinds of stuff.
Those are all based on the flow-through electrolyzer technology that I was talking about. It's 40 years old.
And I just
and they've made lots of advancements. They've made them better and better. For example, they've made with the titanium or platinum coated plates so that they don't dissolve as much. Because one of the problems when you have the electrodes in just plain water is it takes a high voltage, and the voltage can go over the electrode deposition voltage of the plate. So the material itself starts to erode and go out into the water you're drinking. So you don't really want to drink your electrode material. That's right. So they discovered this, and they did materials with very high electrode deposition voltages, like palladium and platinum and things like that. So those are the higher end, and then there's the ones that switch the voltage. So this one is negative and this one's positive, but then they'll switch it, or they have spinning plates or different things, so that again it helps prevent the electrodes from decomposing.
But this is hydrogen.
Keeps the minerals. This hydrogen and oxygen, because you're getting the hydrogen. It's only drinking. These flow-through ionizers only make drinking water. They don't make inhaling gas, and the hydrogen is just in the water that's going out, so that you're just getting the drinking water. And they're depending on the impurities in the water to make it work. If the water doesn't have some sort of impurities in it, they actually don't work at all. They only work with impure water. You can't use distilled water in those ones. Not like the water bottle that uses the PEM technology.
So that's not honest.
So whatever impurities are in the water are going to be in the water you drink, or at least half of them. The ones that attract to the positive anode will go out, and that's not what the water you drink. The water you drink is the one that goes from the negative, which is the high pH. But whatever's making it high pH is now in your drinking water.
Wow, I didn't know that. Boy, that's not good. I don't think I would. Yeah. I mean, everybody. So many people are looking at hydrogen machines, and I really wanted people to understand it, like what I'm understanding even more now. Like I knew that the Aquacure, there's nothing like the Aquacure, and especially because it's Brown's gas, which is what you focused on. But you're like at the top, and yours is expensive, compared to you'd say it's expensive, but
to some others, there's actually a lot that are more expensive than mine. So I'm actually in the middle of the pack, but I also focused on not only efficacy but safety. And so my machines take quite a long time to build or rebuild, if you will. Because what I do is I take a chassis from China to keep the cost down, and I'm able to keep my
That's the
retail cost
body.
down. Otherwise, I would be up in the higher end of the pack with the Ford 5000. But anyway, I buy these basic components, and then I tear them all apart, literally, right apart, and then I rebuild them because I can do that a lot less expensively than I can actually have the parts made. Unfortunately, in America, I feel really bad about that, but I got to keep the price down, or people can't afford the machines.
Yeah, no, you've got to. You have to do what you have to do in order for people to be able to, what you said, people to be able to afford them. But it's also just making things available. Like there are a lot of things that I don't know. Even now, like in today's, we never even talked about the virus. Speaking of today's, I'm digressing with that, and so we'll just leave that where that is. But there are a couple of things that I really want to talk about because we've gone over, and so I don't know how much time you have, but I really want to get this out. But the teeny amount of gas that you're getting in these hydrogen machines, anyway. Like, what is that? Just if you can explain like everything just succinctly to, I mean, just like we're little kids or something. Just explain.
What you need is to have a
like we're fifth graders.
Succinctly, you need a certain volume of hydrogen in order to have a therapeutic benefit. So what happens is the hydrogen, if you have just a little teeny amount, it's good. It's better than nothing. But if you have just a little tiny amount, your body needs a lot more than that. So the Brown's gas machine can make an actual therapeutic benefit, a quantity of gas that achieves a therapeutic benefit, which generally speaking is around 2%. 2% of the inhaled breath being hydrogen. And that's what the scientific studies are mostly based on and what have you. And also we've discovered that more than 2% is kind of a waste anyway, like we explained before, because as soon as your blood is saturated, you're exhaling the excess anyway. So, but if you don't get that 2%, you don't get the full therapeutic benefit of the gas. So with the Aquacure, now with the original Aquacures, we can mechanically adjust the gas production, but that was very inconvenient for people, and most people didn't do it. So the later versions, we made an electronic adjustment so that they could easily adjust for an infant up to a 300-pound man. You could adjust the 2% for that, because every person has a different sized lungs. And so when they take an inhaled breath, they take in a certain volume of gas. So if you made it, and 2% of that, if you did it for an infant, would be way over the explosive limit. So you got to be able to adjust the gas production. So the main thing is to get a therapeutic value, not just a teeny amount, which is going to do you something. It's better than nothing.
Yeah,
but
it's food.
If you want the actual therapeutic volume, the maximum that'll get you to where you want to go the quickest, you need a larger volume, and then adjustability so you can optimize it for yourself.
And in those hydrogen machines, in order to get what they need, that therapeutic, it's not safe. Is that my understanding? That, I mean, that you could get too much, so they have to restrict it, so you can't even get the 2%, correct?
Right. Now, there were some that made quite a lot of gas, like say over 150 milliliters per minute. And for ones like that, with a bigger guy like myself, it was safe. It's getting borderline safe for smaller women, or smaller men as well, smaller people. But for children and infants, it was too much. You'd be over the 4.7 explosive limit of the gas. So it was potentially unsafe. And what can happen with the gas is that if you have a spark that even touches the hose on the outside, something called capacitive inductance, or reactance, capacitive reactance will ignite the gas on the inside. So even though the spark itself never hit, essentially the electromagnetic pulse of the spark ignites the gas on the inside.
Wow.
So if the gas has enough hydrogen and oxygen, it will ignite. So you don't want to be inhaling a mixture into your lungs that is an ignitable mixture. So you want to keep what you're inhaling under the 2%.
Wow. And that's so important that people, what I equated it to in my mind, because like I love green juice, and it's like, okay, take a shot of green juice as compared to like your, 16 ounces. You know what I mean? Like getting that benefit, you're getting like that much, and it's good for you, but it's not like hugely therapeutic. And all I mean, that's just the way I equate it in my mind. So it's something to just think about.
And on the other hand,
thimbleful.
you can't really do too much. I just wanted to point out that you can do too much and be over the explosive limit, but there is really no toxic limit to the gas. Like there's no toxic or bad reactions. It's one of those things that has no negative side effects that I'm aware of. You just exhale any excess. That's right. So when you are treating yourself for diseases that are very bad, what they've done
like
is they do more time. The big C, for example. What they discovered, and there's been studies done now where the Brown's gas was the only therapeutic use that they had. The only therapy, no radiation, no chemo, no anything. And what they discovered was all they had to do was inhale it for a longer time. Now, this particular woman I'm thinking of had lung cancer that metastasized to the brain, and by inhaling the Brown's gas for at least 8 hours a day, all the metastasized went away, and she was essentially went into remission just from that. But it was longer time. It wasn't more gas, a higher percentage. It was just more time.
So that because it saturates, then it goes out of your body. So you got to keep it going.
Right.
So like sleeping with it,
just soak it in. Just
really
think of it as soaking in, like when you.
No, I love it. I love it. That's it. It just makes me feel so good what I'm doing with this. And I mean, and the cost. You just think about a disease, and what is it, like 84 or 86% of Americans or people. I don't know about the world, but just Americans. Or is it even more? I don't know. They have a chronic disease and an autoimmune. It's like these things are the body telling you you're out of balance. Let's get into balance. And so this is just such a good step. And so why, like asthma and all these other things, when you're healing the organs, you're healing from the inside out. And this is what I love about it. That I mean, if it can get rid of a scar, or like on my leg, on your head, on your heel cuts and stuff, it's healing from the inside out. And so that is like, be your own doctor. Doctor means teacher. Be your own healer, and let your body just wants to heal. And so I get really passionate about that, because our bodies are just these amazing machines. And when we give it what they need, like the hydrogen, since what'd you say, 60, how much percentage of hydrogen?
62% hydrogen.
62% hydrogen.
Any honest doctor will know that they don't heal you. The doctor itself, no drug, no doctor is ever going to heal you. The body always heals itself. The honest doctors know that all they have to do is try to give the body what it needs, put it in the right state, and
lifestyle,
and give it what it needs, and it heals itself. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let me just see what else I have. We talked about how long the hydrogen lasts in the body. And in a container, I know we talked about that, but it's like 12 hours, or I mean, once you bubble the water.
What I say is a half-life. If it's in a sealed container, like a water bottle, at room temperature, it's half-life. In other words, the goodness is half gone in a day.
Okay.
So if you make it in the morning, you'll still be drinking. My bottles never last more than until about noon, but when I make them in the morning. But if you drink it, and even when you're coming home from work in the afternoon, if the warmer the bottle is, the faster it drives the hydrogen out. So if you keep it in the fridge, the hydrogen stays even longer. So you want the
glass, plastic, doesn't matter. It's still the hydrogen escapes.
It doesn't matter. It does it all the same except aluminum. And I just simply won't use aluminum containers. No. But for some reason, unknown to me, and I haven't seen any science to show it yet, it shows it happens, but I haven't seen any science to show me why. Aluminum holds hydrogen twice as good. So the half-life of an aluminum sealed bottle with hydrogen in it would be 2 days.
So I wouldn't.
1 day and 2 days.
This is why you want your own machine, because people sell hydrogen water. Like by the time it gets to the shelf and you buy it, and you're paying like $3, $4, $5 for, you're getting water, and whatever that water is, I mean, you're hoping at least it's distilled, but it could just be filtered, and who knows what's in it. It's just like you're just wasting money. And I look at that after you told me that the half-life, and I mean how long it lasts. I'm like, wow, because it's a gas. So it's going to escape. I don't care whether it's glass or metal or.
And hydrogen is the smallest molecule that there is, and it essentially works its way right through pretty much any material and gone.
That's amazing.
One reason why you could run the machine in your room right there at 100% day and night, and you would never build up a mixture of hydrogen in the room that would be explosive,
because
the
it goes to
hydrogen just goes
God.
right through any teeny, just
Goes-
gone.
And then how much water like what would you recommend that people drink? Just the regular, but just with hydrogen, like say half their body weight in ounces a day, and then hydrogen.
There's websites that give you the ratios, but generally speaking, I just simply, like, this is my little water bottle.
Mhm.
It's inexpensive. I bought it a long time ago, and I drink
like 3 or 4 a day.
I drink 2 of these. This is a 1 liter jug bottle.
Yeah.
So I drink 2 of these a day.
Hydrogen is obviously very, very hydrating.
Hydrating.
Yeah, and so when you, I have hydrogen on the brain, which is a good thing. But when you were talking about and this happened to me on our last interview, or when we talked at some point, and you'd said that you don't get as thirsty, and that happened to me. I was like, all of a sudden I wasn't drinking my 3 to 4 quarts or liters a day. And I was like, what am I doing? What is going on? And I realized that I was just, and you had said you need to pay attention to that. And so I do. But it's interesting because you really don't get as thirsty. I mean, that to me that's telling me that the body's healing. Like that you don't need that water. Plus, when I do water fasts, that's all I drink is the hydrogenated water. It's not hydrogenated.
Yes.
All these words with hydro, water, but anyway, I drink that, and I used to get so, somebody told me it's because I was toxic, and I'm like, well, yeah, we're all toxic, but I'd get so thirsty, and I'd get dry mouth, and on my fasts, and like day 3, I was always like, whatever, I'd get to 4 or 5, 6, however many days I was doing it, and I'd just be so just like thirsty. I was constantly thirsty. And with the hydroxy water, it's like, that was my solution. It's amazing. I never get thirsty. I mean, I'm thirsty, but I don't, it's normal. It's not like, it's really weird. I don't know why. I mean, obviously a lack of hydrogen, but because all of a sudden I didn't even get hydrogen from my food or something, but I wasn't getting it from my water. I mean, water
Right.
is hydrogen and oxygen, right? But but it's not.
But it's locked together, and your body has to, in order to get the hydrogen from that, your body has to actually tear the oxygen molecule off in order to free the hydrogen, so that you can get it. Now, there's a big difference between just hydrogen, just regular water, and hydrogen enriched water as well. Like a quick example is a woman who was working as one of the landscape people who was doing the landscaping around our house. She was drinking water all day, but she was getting exhausted and dehydrated, even though she was drinking water. And so my wife took out a bottle of the hydrogen-rich water, and it made all the difference. One bottle of that, she just felt like all of a sudden she was hydrated. She could think again, and it just took away all the brain fog and everything, and sore muscles, and it just rejuvenated her. It was just amazing.
I just realized what my issue was with the water and why I was getting dehydrated. It's that ORP. It was probably the water probably had like a 300 or 400 ORP. And so basically it was robbing positive. So it was robbing my body of electrons and making me like, oh my gosh, I saw
it.
Something.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I bet you that was it. Wow. Ding, ding, ding. That's very exciting. Well, let me see if I have any other questions we got the benefits. Side effects are side effects. Just what are the side effects? I know you love to say it.
The biggest side effect is the healing challenge. Okay, when people are when their body starts to heal, they get what I call weirdness. And I call it weirdness because I have no idea what's going to happen to whom, if anything. There's been some people that would start the inhalation, and within 1 minute they start to get a headache. And if they cut back and they just gradually start, then gradually that goes away. So obviously there was something wrong in their head that the body was then trying to heal. And some people, well, like myself, my weirdness was when I first inhaled for about 10 or 15 minutes at about 6:30 at night. I didn't sleep that night. I was absolutely alert and awake all night. Whereas my wife, like I said, her weirdness was that she had the best night's sleep. It was the same thing. It was exactly the same treatment, exactly opposite reactions. So there's various weirdness that can happen, and all you have to do is cut back so that till you have a threshold that you're comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
until your body works that through, and then you go on. But there's, to the best of my knowledge, there is no negative side effects, medicinal side effects of the gas or the drinking of the water at all. I
your
haven't yet found a single one.
Your testimonials, like even mine, like, and I mean, energy, and I mean, I always have a lot of energy, but it's sustained, and the scar to me is like the biggest thing ever. And let's talk about COVID. Do you have just like 10 more minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to talk about viruses. That's a really important thing. How does hydrogen help with viruses?
Okay, viruses aren't alive, so nothing can kill them. You can destroy them, but they don't die because they aren't alive to begin with. They're little packets of RNA, which is essentially a little piece of DNA. And so these little packets, they either float around or sit on surfaces or something like that, and they don't do anything unless you get them into your body. They don't go hunting you down like a mosquito and drill into you. You kind of pick them up as you go. Mm-hmm. So once it gets into your body, then the virus does essentially like a thumb drive. You've seen these little thumb drives or memory sticks you stick into your computer. Mm-hmm. By itself, it does nothing. But when you put it in the computer can read that information, and then it does something. Now, that's what happens with the viruses. And there's all different kinds of viruses, so they do all different kinds of things, just like those little bits of code do all kinds of different things in your computer. You can think of it like an actual computer virus,
I like it.
A piece of malware that plugs into our human computer, and it starts to do something. Okay, with the COVID-19, that's the symptoms of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and that SARS-CoV-2 virus originally was thought to affect the lungs, but it turns out that it actually isn't a lung virus. It's an epidemic. It's a blood virus. So it affects the red blood cells, and what it does is it kicks out the ferritin or the iron out of your red blood cell, so the red blood cell can't actually attach to an oxygen. So your blood is pumping around in your body, but it's not taking any oxygen from your lungs to your organs. And so then you get hypoxia, low blood oxygen, and your organs start to fail and you get really sick. So and then in the last stages of the disease, which is another reason they thought it was a lung disease, is you get what's called the cytokine storm, which is your immune system just going berserk and acting like a shotgun inside your body and just killing everything, everything is the virus, just trying to kill everything, hoping to survive, last stage kind of thing. Well, the Brown's gas, it turns out, when you inhale it, the electrically expanded water first takes care of inflammation, which is the main driver of the cytokine storm. So it just smooths everything out, going from a wild tempest sea to a smooth, calm ocean. It just smooths everything out. And the second thing it does is, when it gets into the bloodstream, is allow the red blood cells to suddenly get the ferritin, which is still in the blood plasma, reattached. So the red blood cell can carry oxygen. This happens within minutes when you start. So we're talking latter stage of the disease. We're not even talking using Brown's gas prophylactically, because if you do, you generally don't get sick anyway. I haven't been sick with a cold or a flu, including a COVID, since 2005. And by the way, the coronavirus, they call it new. This is a new variety of a coronavirus, but we've had coronavirus all of our life. Common cold is a coronavirus. Okay, so getting back to it's a blood disease. As soon as the oxygen can grab the red blood cells can grab the oxygen, it does from the lungs, and the cytokine storm calms down, and you start getting oxygen to your organs, your body. Within a couple of hours, people are feeling better, and usually within a couple of days, they're out of the hospital. Even if they were in the latter stages of the disease where they would otherwise be getting intubated. So intubation is the first possible thing to do. This is another thing they've discovered, because it doesn't matter how much oxygen pressure you put in the lungs. If the blood can't take the oxygen, you're not going to get it. So they were actually killing people, unfortunately, and I'm very sorry to say, with the inappropriate treatment. And so if you have an appropriate treatment, which is not only the Brown's gas, there's other ones as well, then it heals from this particular virus. Now, getting back to the immune system, when they did the dark field microscope of my blood, the woman was astonished at how how functional my immune system was. The white blood cells and everything going around doing their thing. She'd never seen an immune system so strong, and she'd been doing, for however many years, her these blood samples.
A live blood analysis. Yeah.
Live blood analysis.
Yeah, just so the commoner like me, would understand. Yeah. I know what you're saying.
So they can. The normal microscope kills everything because the light is so intense, but the dark field it just puts a little light on the edges, so you can actually see the living organisms and blood. So you can actually see what's actually happening while it's still alive. So that's why it's good to use that particular type of analysis. All right. So the Brown's gas gives the body what it needs to reestablish its own immune system. And what I was talking about before is the hierarchy. It first shuts off the regeneration system, then the immune systems, then the organs start to fail, and then you die. You get your hydrogen, the body first puts it to the organs, then to the immune system, so you don't get sick anymore. And things like, I had hand warts. All my hand warts are gone. I had a plantar's wart on my foot, gone. The warts are a virus.
Yeah.
And and my immune system got rid of warts that I'd had for 50 years.
Wow.
I'd been living with them, and I just, I did, but
wow.
My immune system just got rid of them once I started to inhale the gas. And that happened with viruses and everything all throughout my body. It wasn't the Brown's gas itself that killed it. Brown's gas kills nothing.
Yeah.
But it was my immune system that then was able to do that. Now, Brown's gas will eliminate oxidative stress because of the electrons, right?
Right.
And there is some oxygen in there, but it's only just replacing what you're normally breathing anyway. So oxygen really doesn't do one thing or the other. So the hydrogen is the building block. The electrons give the energy. And as your immune system increases, then your body finally turns back on your regeneration system, which returns on stem cells, which then allows you to heal. So if you had scars, it allows the instead of just the patch, like it's a Band-Aid. A scar is just a Band-Aid, just to keep you from bleeding out. It's an emergency measure of your body. But as soon as your regeneration system comes back online, your body has healed its organs. I had a heart murmur most of my life, and that is gone. It healed my heart. So then, as soon as it heals all of the other things, it turns back on the regeneration system, and then starts getting rid of things like scars, makes your skin supple again, and all of that as you regenerate, literally.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful.
Gas helps it not because it's an antibiotic or kills the virus. It helps because it helps your body get strong enough to kill the virus.
Yeah. So it's a supplement that supplements the body to do its healing job. That what it wants to do anyway, to get you into homeostasis. It's your nutrition. And speaking of nutrition,
we're supplementing because we're not getting it from our normal food, so we have to add.
That's what we didn't talk. That's the last thing. So we're not getting it from our food, and did we talk about that? Did we?
Yes, we did.
Oh, okay. Well, then we don't want to go back over that. I know we touched on it, but I had written it down to come back to it because why we're not getting it from our food. And because
we touched on it first, and then we came back to it.
Yeah,
and
okay,
that's good.
so let's let that go. Okay, so I think that's about it then, unless you want to add anything else. Is there anything that is new? And when I said the dark microscopic, what is it? that and then
I just call it microscope. Yeah, to see.
Well, but the dark and then the live blood analysis, those are not the same thing, right? Or are they?
No.
Okay, so you did the dark, but you don't have any videos for that, so that
I don't have a video. I have
pictures?
some still pictures, and I don't have anything online except for the report that was done with Walter Last.
Okay.
Yeah,
that would just be really cool if. Can I get a copy of that report?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yes, in fact, I think you can download it from my website.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure, but I'll make a note to send it to you anyway, and then you can have it available for your people.
And then can you also send me the copy of the handbook for this machine, since I lost mine? I can't find it.
Yes, no problem. I'll send you what I call my helpful links, and you'll have that.
Thank you for the helpful links, because I went all over and I couldn't find a helpful link. Maybe it's on your .life one. So tell everybody where they can reach you. And first of all, let's talk about to get it from my link, they get 10% off. And
Right.
and so it's just Lenny Motivates. It doesn't matter whether it's Lenny space motivates or Lenny Motivates all one word, right? It caps.
It
does
has
that
to be
matter?
all one word. It doesn't matter if it's capitalized, but it does
Okay.
have to be all one word.
Oh, it has to be all
Lenny
one word.
Motivates all one word. Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, that's how it recognizes it. So Lenny Motivates, Lynnie, and then Motivates. And
so if you go to eagle-research.life, so there's a hyphen mark between eagle and research, not an underscore, but a hyphen mark, and then .life, you'll be able to see most of what we're talking about here, and you'll be able to purchase it. When you go to shop and purchase, you just use the Lenny Motivates, all one word, doesn't matter if it's capitalized or not, and it'll give you 10%. As well, there's a 1-year satisfaction guarantee, so you can use the machine for a full year, and if you don't like it, then you can return it and get your purchase price back. And lastly, it has a lifetime manufacturer's warranty. Anything breaks on the machine that's the manufacturer's fault, for the lifetime of the machine, we'll replace it. That includes the shipping, the labor, and the parts cost. No more cost to the person.
And I can tell you from my own my own questions with the machine that George is not George and staff, just hugely, the support is awesome. I mean, it's like the best. So no problem. You're not going to find anybody that cares about safety as much as George, because he wouldn't even breathe the gas before. It was his clients, because he didn't think it was safe. He was like, it's not safe. And now look at him, scarless, wrinkleless, because now he's breathing the gas, but it's safe. It's very safe. So that's how safe he is. So it's eagle-research.life or Eagle Research.
Yes,
is there a hyphen?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure there was a hyphen.
Eagle-research.life. There's a hyphen in between. That's right.
Yeah, Eagle hyphen. Okay,
if you don't put in the hyphen, you'll go to some insurance site or something.
But anyway, so thank you, George. I appreciate you so incredibly much. No last words, no funny stories, well, you already told us some funny stories, but.
Oh, I've got lots of them. We'll save them for next time.
Thank you so incredibly mucho. I love you. See you later, and thank you everybody
for joining.
It's always a pleasure with you. See you later, George. Thank you. Ciao.
And here's that website again. That is eagle-research.life. That's L-I-F-E. Eagle-research.life to get George Wiseman's Aquacure. Get 10% off using the code Lenny Motivates. All one word. That's L-Y-N-N-I-E Motivates. You can find that in the show notes as well. So Lenny Motivates will get you 10% off your purchase of George Wiseman's Aquacure. So go there, eagle-research.life, and enjoy the health-giving benefits, virus-chasing or not letting exist benefits of the Aquacure, of the hydroxy or brown gas. Thanks for listening to the Wild and Free Healthy You podcast. I appreciate you so incredibly mucho. Make sure you always take care of you first, because your health is your #1 asset. To listen to more podcasts, check out LennyMotivates.com and follow me on Instagram @LennyMotivates. Don't forget to share them with your family and friends. Remember to always be your biggest fan and your biggest cheerleader, because no one can love you more than you can. Take care of you. Ciao.